Now at 9, heavy rains leave their mark on the 4 states and strong winds bring down power poles in southwest Missouri.
Amid heavy rain, a local fire department is offering some tips to stay safe from flooding. I'm Melissa Alexis, and I'll have more on this story coming up.
Newly imposed tariffs from the Trump administration sparking a trade war with 3 of America's biggest trading partners. I'm Alexandria Hoff at the White House with the latest coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Heavy showers throughout the morning soaked the 4 states, and the rain kept coming today. This is 530 Road east of Pittsburgh, where runoff from the rain filled low-lying areas. Now, the early taste of spring is quickly falling back to winter, with chances of snow tonight. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach, and let's go straight to Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy with a first look at what we can expect.
Yeah, our temperatures really starting to drop back, plus the winds have really been picking up. We're still going to have bands of showers, so by 11 p.m. we'll be down near 40, and then we'll drop into the 30s, and we'll have rain, which is going to slowly switch over to a little bit of light snow. It's not going to last very long, but we are going to get some light snow. Now, with the wind, of course, it's going to be going sideways all night long. Look at our winds gusting 40 to 50 through the night. May even pick up to about 55 miles per hour at times. Stays windy all day long tomorrow. Finally, tomorrow evening, the winds start to come back down, and then they pick up again late Thursday out of the south, and that's going to help our temperatures start to warm up. So wind advisory, southern counties, high wind warning. Then we have a winter weather advisory due to that light snow. As we go through the overnight hours, you can see it switching over into eastern parts of Kansas. So let's go through time. We're going to stop this roughly midnight, 12:30. You can see a rain snow mix and snow. Again, it's not going to last long. It's going to be fairly light, but it will come down at a pretty good clip. So we could pick up a dusting upwards to 1/2 inch, maybe some areas 3/4 of an inch. We're going to talk more about this and what's to come here in a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, strong winds brought down multiple power poles on Hazel Avenue between Airport Drive and Fur Road in Jasper County today, forcing a road closure and causing a power outage in the area. Carthage Water and Electric does not currently list any outages. Authorities urged drivers to avoid that area while the repairs were underway. The National Weather Service is highlighting flood safety today during Severe Weather Preparedness Week, and local first responders offer ways to stay safe amid flood risk. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
This time of year, our weather can be very unpredictable. We can get large amounts of rain in a very short period of time.
Alan Brown, the chief of 4-state search and rescue, knows just how dangerous flooding can become, as he's responded to many flood-related emergencies around the 4-state area.
I remember was down around the Neosho area, and we were able to pull a family out of a car that was almost completely submerged in water.
He says those moments are some that he'll never forget.
It's hard to forget the look of relief on somebody's face when you pull them out of that situation.
And while he was able to save some lives, he says that's not always the case.
For somebody to be in a situation that it turns into a recovery, and we realize that can be the reality sometimes. Our hope is that we can make it a rescue before it becomes a recovery.
The fire chief for the city of Miami and his team often respond to flood-related emergencies. Chris Chenoweth says with a flood-prone city, their department is familiar with water rescues.
Pretty quickly, we can lose access to several thousands of our residents. So State Highway 125 will flood, and that adds 5 or 6 minutes at least to our response time to the south end of town. So when you're in an emergency, that 5 or 6 minutes could be super valuable.
The fire chief says sometimes floodwaters can be a bigger risk than people realize. He says it only takes a couple inches of water on the roads to cause an emergency.
6 inches of water is all it takes to knock you off your feet. So if you start walking across flood water and it gets, has washed the road out and you're driving, then you're in trouble before you can do anything.
And it only takes about a foot of water to sweep away an average car. He says if you're driving and you do happen to come across floodwater,
turn around and go back home and wait. Don't ever drive across the water.
Reporting in Miami, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
According to weather.gov, floods kill more people in the U.S. each year than any other thunderstorm-related hazard. Miami residents will soon have a chance to learn more about a proposed bioprocessing project near Quapaw. Argo Development Partners, along with Miami Area Economic Development Service, or MAIDS, will host an open house next Tuesday to provide an overview of the project, which aims to convert poultry litter into renewable natural gas and fertilizer. The open house is scheduled from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the Miami Civic Center. Pittsburgh State University hosted its annual Spring Fair today. The Office of Career Development organized the event to give students the chance to network, explore internships, and pursue job opportunities. Recruiters from a variety of industries gathered at the Plaster Center to connect with students of all majors and classifications.
Employers from all across the board. So every employer is going to represent each college in some way. So we have College of Arts and Science, there's employers here for them. College of Education, there's employers here for them. College of Technology and College of Business, all here to recruit for students within those colleges.
140 companies attended. Coming up, a presidential apology.
After 4 days of fighting, Ukraine's president says he's ready to make things right with President Trump. I'm Stephanie Bennett in London. The details coming up.
But first, health experts warn how our warmer weather may trigger people's allergies earlier and make them last longer. What you can do now to prepare. The first day of spring, or the spring equinox, is Thursday, March 20th, and forecasts estimate much of the nation is in store for severe allergy-inducing weather. Medical experts say you should be using the time you have left to prepare before the pollen really starts exploding. Fox News' Ted Linder takes a closer look at how you can bolster your defenses.
While the chirping of birds is a welcome sign spring is approaching, this upcoming season may also be marked by plenty of sneezes. The Old Farmer's Almanac is forecasting warmer and wetter than average spring conditions for much of the country. Doctors say weather like this can trigger terrible allergy spells for millions, as flowering plants have more time to produce and release pollen. Health experts also warn this projected surge in temperatures is part of a larger allergy issue.
Seasonal allergies seem to be increasing with time. One of the hypotheses for this is that we actually are having less differentiation between our seasons as the global temperature is rising, and so people don't necessarily get that relief that they used to have in between season changes.
Early prevention is your first and best line of defense.
I advise people to start treating or preventing their allergy symptoms about a month before when they usually have trouble. The most common allergy treatments are antihistamines and corticosteroids.
Doctors also advise going outside at times when there's less pollen in the air.
Middle day is a little bit less allergenic than the earlier and evening hours.
But if your symptoms are severe from being outdoors,
after you've been exposed to the allergen, trying to get it off of your body. So washing off your face or taking a shower can help be an avoidance measure.
Ted Linder, Fox News.
Researchers say more than half of adults and a third of children will be overweight or obese by the year 2050. A major worldwide study by The Lancet found obesity has doubled over the past 3 decades, affecting more than 2.5 billion people. Perhaps most concerning, a surge in obesity among children, especially boys, with numbers predicted to rise drastically over the next 5 years. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, motorcycle awareness.
With the warmer days ahead of us, it may mean more cyclists on the road. I'm Lonnie Walton in Joplin. I spoke to experts on how you and cyclists can remain safe on the roadway. Stick around, I have the details coming up.
Well, of course, kind of a wild day for us today. Temperatures kind of all over the place. We had thunderstorms during the morning hours. Some of those strong. They stayed just below the severe limits. And then I got a little bit of sunshine this afternoon. Showers and thunderstorms back in for us this evening. The winds have really been picking up and will continue to do so as we go through the overnight hours tonight. We're going to slide back through the rest of the 40s into the 30s. I think our overnight low near 30. Very windy and staying very windy once again for us tomorrow. Wind advisories, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, south of I-44. High wind warning, southeastern Kansas. Then kind of in the bluish purple, we have a winter weather advisory due to snow that we're going to pick up later on tonight. Now, most of us aren't going to pick up much, but we could get some slushy accumulations. And even though the snow is not going to last long, if you're out, when it is coming down, it's going to be going sideways. So near blizzard-like conditions due to the wind, where we're going to have winds 40 upwards to 50, maybe cranking 55 miles per hour at times. They say stay super windy for us tomorrow, and then they come down a little bit tomorrow night and start to go back up a bit late in the day on Thursday. Check out the rainfall amounts. Everybody in the green, at least an inch. So everybody, very beneficial rain. Where you do see the yellows, that's really roughly 2 to 3 inches, upwards of 4 to 5 once you get into our western counties. So a lot of areas, quite a bit of rain for us today. And we are on the backside of this storm system. You can see the snow starting to work in eastern parts of Kansas. Again, this is mainly a thunderstorm event for us, but huge storm system covering a ton of real estate across the lower 48, and it will slowly be working out of here. Before it does, we switch over to a rain-snow mix. So here's midnight. On the Missouri side, it may come down at a pretty good clip, at least for a couple hours. Most of this is going to be out of here by 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. There may be some light little snow showers to start the day, but temperatures through the entire event sitting at about 33 to about 37 degrees. So it's going to have a very hard time accumulating on the roadways. That's why I said there could be some slushy spots. Besides that, not a huge deal. All right, so snowfall amounts, always put your hand over the top number. So a trace, everybody should get a dusting. Upwards to an isolated inch, kind of isolated 2 once you get closer to Kansas City. But I really think realistically, we're looking at a dusting, 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch in spots. All right, sunshine returns Wednesday afternoon. Temperatures quite a bit cooler. Not awful, but cooler. Highs into the mid-40s. Tomorrow night gets kind of cold. We dip back into the mid-20s. We get some mid and upper level clouds kind of streaming in as we go into Thursday, but high temps rebound back into the mid-50s during the afternoon. 43, very windy on Wednesday, 56 on Thursday, 65 on Friday. A little bit cooler for the weekend with rain chances, but kind of up and down. But yeah, the winds, they're going to be moving tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to Friday though. It sounds like you need to go pull your trash cans in or something tonight so they don't tip over.
Be a good idea.
And fill up with snow, a dusting of snow.
There you go.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, soon warmer weather will be here, which means more motorcycles will hit the roadways. And according to MoDOT, last year there were 133 fatalities involving bikers. KOAM's Lonnie Walton talked to motorcyclists in Joplin about safety measures you should follow to keep you and others safe.
A car pulled out in front of me. I assumed they were going to turn right, and instead they turned left.
Dave Staso is a motorcyclist and the owner of Scooter Dave's in Joplin. He said he almost lost his life when he was just 17.
I was accelerating to go around them. My bike hit their car. Me and the bike flipped over the car, landed on the pavement.
To help prevent incidents like Dave's, Caitlin Gittaland from Pitbull Power Sports in Joplin says everyone should follow a few tips.
To look at 360 all the way around, making sure you're looking over your shoulder whenever you're going into another lane. Most people just look in their mirror and think that they're good.
And according to Dave, just knowing the rules is not enough. You may need some additional training also.
They are very dangerous if you don't know how to ride them, so you should take a class if you've never rode before.
Both Gittaland and Staso say motorcyclists should make sure the weather is good before getting on the bike.
It's not so good of a day, but once that weather hits back up in the 60s in the next couple days, you're going to see everybody out on their bikes.
Of course, always with road conditions, adjust your riding based on road conditions with weather.
And most importantly, Staso says you really need to look out for yourself.
Cycles are on their own. You have to ride a bike like you're invisible and nobody else will see you, because 90% of the time they won't see you, so you have to protect yourself.
Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Now, according to MoDOT, although most crashes happen in urban areas, most fatal motorcycle incidents happen in rural areas. Coming up, the latest tariff impacts on the auto industry.
The Canada-Mexico tariffs now in place, and you're not going to believe how much extra it would cost to drive this vehicle off the lot. I'm Jeff Locke in Glen Mills, Pennsylvania. I'll be back with a story shortly.
Today, the Pittsburgh Area Chamber of Commerce invited the public out to experience the flavors and charms of Italy. The chamber hosted a Taste of Tuscany, an event featuring a Tuscan cuisine, Italian atmosphere, and great company. The event also served as a way for the chamber to promote its upcoming international getaway trip to Tuscany. Automakers are preparing for President Trump's tariffs. Fox Business correspondent Jeff Locke is at a dealership in Pennsylvania with how will car prices be affected.
I think it's fair to say that there is some fear in the nation's auto dealerships. This, for example, is a Ram heavy-duty truck made in Mexico. Price tag now about $90,000. If it came in after the tariffs, it would be more like $120,000. David Kelleher of David Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, you're scared.
Yeah, that doesn't work for us. I mean, this is a Cummins diesel, so this is a big one. But that's a perfect example. I mean, all of our heavy-duty trucks are made in Mexico. Those are high-ticket items. So you put 25% on these, it cripples our business. We won't sell anything.
And you're not alone. The other automakers as well, a lot of vehicles made in Mexico, and then, of course, parts. As for vehicles made in Mexico, you also make your Jeep Compass there. GM makes its Chevy Blazer there. Ford, the Mustang Mach-E is made in Mexico. And then there are the parts which cross the border sometimes multiple times. They be tariffed each time.
Think about a customer waiting for a part. And, the manufacturers are probably going to suspend parts shipments at the short time. So we'll back orders. But then when the parts come in at the 25% tariff, their prices for repair are going to go up exponentially.
So it affects everyone that you touch.
Yeah, everyone we touch. And plus Canada. We have the Pacifica being made in Canada. Uniquely, our EVs are made in Canada, our Charger and Challenger.
The Kelley Blue Book says the average increased cost will be $3,000 a vehicle.
Yeah,
you buy that?
That's inaccurate. If we're reading this correctly, if it's a 25% tariff, the $3,000
more than $3,000.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Day one of the tariffs. We'll see where it goes from here. That's the latest from Glen Mills, Pennsylvania. I'm Jeff Locke with the Fox Business Network.
Well, still to come, a Fort Scott club serves up a Fat Tuesday tradition for more than 100 years. Some call it Mardi Gras, but it's also referred to as Shrove Tuesday, the day before Ash Wednesday when the Lenten season of fasting begins. Now, this evening, the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Frontenac hosted a Mardi Gras parish dinner. Attendees enjoyed a New Orleans cuisine, bingo, and prizes. Now, the French name Mardi Gras means Fat Tuesday, from the custom of using all the fats in the home before Lent in preparation for fasting and abstinence. Well, it's all about tradition for the Fort Scott Kiwanis Club. Today, the group hosted its annual Shrove Tuesday pancake feed for the 102nd year. If you're curious about the significance of eating pancakes on Shrove Tuesday, it actually dates back about 1,500 years when Christians were banned from eating all meat and animal products during Lent. So they made pancakes to use up their eggs, milk, and butter.
It's a fellowship thing, it's a tradition that we do every year. This is Fat Tuesday. We started doing it on that, so it's just something the community, I think that we get good support from our corporate sponsors, and so it kind of reaches out to those people that work for different corporations, different companies in town.
The Kiwanis provide funding for youth activities in the community like swimming passes and skating rink tickets. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. A growing trade war, rising prices, and new retaliatory efforts. How will it impact you? And a diplomatic standoff, military aid on hold, and growing concerns over U.S. policy. And what's next for Ukraine?
You're watching The Four States. most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. President Trump launches a trade war against America's three biggest trading partners. The new tariffs imposed against Mexico and Canada went into effect today, and an additional tariff on China started Monday. Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff is at the White House with the latest.
Americans will be paying more for groceries, for gas, for cars, for homes.
A warning Tuesday from Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to Americans, saying President Trump's 25% tariffs now in effect will mean higher prices for all.
Canadians are reasonable and we are polite, but we will not back down from a fight.
Canada retaliating with its own 25% tariffs, with more to come in 21 days. Mexico's president doing the same, announcing retaliatory tariffs coming Sunday.
I think what the president's trying to achieve here, particularly with Canada and Mexico, is shutting down the fentanyl traffic. I think that the tariffs are, in my view, a means to an end, not the end itself, and hopefully it's something that can be temporary in nature.
Still, the president says he's planning for more, threatening reciprocal tariffs on major trading partners starting next month.
Reciprocal tariffs start on April 2nd.
Plus, China, slapped with an additional 10% tariff, announced its own retaliatory tariffs on U.S. agricultural imports, and filing a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization. The escalating trade war sending U.S. stocks plunging, as Ontario Premier Doug Ford says he's prepared to cut off electricity exports to the U.S.
The market is going to go downhill faster than the American bobsled team. This is unnecessary. And we do have to retaliate. And I apologize to the American people. It's not you. It's your president that's causing this problem.
And tonight we are expecting the economy to be a major focus at President Trump's joint address to Congress. At the White House, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Well, federal employees held a rally in the nation's capital today to protest the Trump administration's efforts to shrink the federal government.
Union. We are the union! Mighty, mighty union! Mighty, mighty union!
Members of AFGE demonstrated outside the Office of Personnel Management building to protest the mass firings made by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency.
This isn't about efficiency.
No.
This is about control.
Yeah.
Doge and the forces behind this takeover want to politicize the very agency that protects federal workers.
The union represents more than 800,000 federal employees, including more than 1,000 workers at OPM. Ukraine's president is trying to put his spat with President Trump in the rear view and get American military aid flowing again. Fox News correspondent Stephanie Bennett has the latest.
You're running low on soldiers.
The war of words between Presidents Trump and Zelensky could soon be over. The Ukrainian president softened his tone significantly on Tuesday after the White House announced it's suspending military aid to Ukraine, and it won't be resumed until Zelensky makes a public apology for the Oval Office argument last Friday. Zelensky posted on social media that the meeting didn't go the way it was supposed to. It was regrettable, and it's time to make things right. He also wrote, quote, "My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts."
What the President Trump is saying, look, let's get the deal first, let's get the ceasefire, and then we'll put the security guarantees in.
Zelensky says he's now ready to sign the rare earth mineral deal being pushed by President Trump, and that he wants to end the war as soon as possible. That was a reference to Trump's repeated claim that Ukraine isn't ready for peace. European leaders are now scrambling to fill the void and get more arms and ammunition to Ukraine. But after the Oval Office blow-up, there's growing concern that the Trump administration could be aligning itself with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Europeans are stepping up to the plate, but the next announcement people are fearing is the United States lifting some of the sanctions against Russia.
The EU is now proposing a new $840 billion plan to beef up European defenses and send more military aid to Ukraine. In London, Stephanie Bennett, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, the Pope's health.
Pope Francis is breathing more easily, but doctors say he's not out of danger yet. I'm Connor Hansen in Rome with the latest on his recovery from double pneumonia, coming up.
Well, of course, we still have showers, even a few thunderstorms out there, but we are going to switch over to snow in portions of the region very quickly as the colder air works in. The winds have been picking up. I've been watching the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam shaking a little bit, and it's going to get worse as we get through the overnight hours as the winds continue to increase. All right, rain switching over to snow. Most of us after 11 p.m. We drop back into the 30s for overnight lows. Wind advisories, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, south of I-44. High wind warning, southeastern Kansas. Winter weather advisory in the more bluish purple all the way over to Nevada, Joplin, and Springfield due to a little bit of light snow for us tonight. But the winds are going to be up there 40 to 50, may hit 55 miles per hour. So when we do switch over to snow, we're going to have near blizzard-like conditions. Blizzards, they don't mean you're going to get a lot of snow. It just means the wind is going to be blowing the snow so much that visibilities will be near zero. So for a couple hours, we're going to have very low visibilities. Winds moving all through the morning. Gusts will come down to about 30 to 35 once we get into the afternoon. They calm down tomorrow night, pick up a bit again as we get into Thursday afternoon. Everybody got a lot of rain. Most areas at least an inch, 2 inches. Where you see the yellows, 3 to 4 inches of rain. So a very wet system for us across the region. Look at this storm system. Look at the cold snow barreling southeast into southeastern parts of Kansas. Huge storm system. Covers a lot of real estate. We have severe weather now down through parts of Alabama, of course, heading away from us. All right, let's stop this shortly after midnight. You got a rain-snow mix. You got moderate snow along I-49 corridor, switching all over to snow by 1 a.m. for everybody. But by the time we switch, it's quickly pushing out of here. It's pretty much gone by morning. So it's a very short period of snow, but it could pile up a little bit, not much. Most of us a dusting, maybe a quarter of an inch. There could be some isolated 1 inch amounts, but most of us a dusting to about a half an inch, maybe a little bit more. Once you get up toward Kansas City, they could pick up a quick 2 or 3 inches of snow. All right, let me go through time. We get some sunshine back once we get into Wednesday afternoon. It's just going to be chilly. Highs only into low to mid 40s. We clear out tomorrow night. We bottom out down into the mid 20s. Thursday better. We get some clouds, but temperatures rebound back into the mid 50s for highs. 34 to start, 40 by noon. High temp, 43 degrees. Once we get rid of this system, we don't have a lot going on until we get into the weekend. We have a weak system that may skirt us on Saturday. All right, let's go 43 Wednesday, 56 on Thursday, 65 though on Friday. A little bit cooler for the weekend, but look at next week. Almost every day, 60s to near 70. So feels more spring-like out there, especially with the thunderstorms we had earlier today.
And once we get past tonight, it's, we'll be ready to welcome spring.
Maybe. There's still some
Doug.
snow in the forecast. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't get ahead of us. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, some Southwest Missouri students put their hard work up to the test of Mother Nature today. Third graders in Nixa engineered houses to withstand natural disasters in honor of Severe Weather Preparedness Week. The students predicted how their creations would hold up to wildfire, flooding, or dust storms. And then their teachers unleashed homemade weather to see how the models fared. Students say these experiments are a lot of fun, but their teachers know they're also learning a lot.
You could see people's houses fail and their reactions are like, oh no, dang it.
I think it's also not just about the science. They're learning so much through this. They're thinking critically, they're learning that empathy piece, they're having to be confident in the solutions that they are coming up with. So yes, it's awesome to build this house and see if it works, but there's so much more to it.
More student-made model homes will be put to the test tomorrow. Well, coming up in sports, Southeast boys basketball tries to punch its ticket to the sub-state championship game. Plus, Fairland boys basketball prepares for its trip to state. Ben McLeish has those stories and more up next.
Fairland boys high school basketball had not made the state tournament in 100 years. No, seriously, 1925 is the first and only time that the Owls made it to state. That is, until this past weekend. Fairland High School basketball hits the practice floor this afternoon. The Owls are coming off a win over Wyandotte in the final round of the area tournament to finish as runner-up. This Thursday, Fairland is set to face Hartshorn in the first round of the 2A state tournament in Oklahoma City. A journey that's been quite literally 100 years in the making.
The last 2 years we've been 2 games away both times, and games we thought we should have won. And just to finally make it and actually be here is crazy.
It's a blessing, to be honest. I mean, everyone else's season's ending. Only a couple teams left, only a couple more games left. So, just grateful that we're still playing.
They're ready to go. I mean, they're calm. They're having a good time. I mean, this team's so close. I mean, they all look out for each other. They're just ready they're ready to leave tomorrow and get down there and play at 10:30 on Thursday.
Over in Kansas, we're into the semifinal round of sub-state tournaments for all classes. We've got a ton of our local teams in action this evening. Let's head to Cherokee for the 2A sub-state semifinal. Southeast boys basketball hosts West Elk. We start in the final seconds of the third quarter. It's been back and forth all night, and Maddox Moreno with the fadeaway three-point buzzer beater gives the Patriots a 4-point lead heading into the fourth. Now in the final minutes, Moreno again with the triple gives the Patriots a 6-point lead with 4 minutes to go. Lancers are in trouble, but here's Traysol Galindo with the steal, and he lays it in. Lancers still down by 3 with 1:40 to go, and again a steal by Blake Robinson travels down the court and puts it in to put the Lancers within 1 point. They later tie it up on a free throw, setting it to OT. There's Jackson Bogdan with the jumper, putting the West Elk up by 1 with less than 10 seconds. Southeast is fouled with just 3 seconds. They inbound the ball to Warner, who gives it to Andrew Phillips, who lays it in as time expires. The Lancers win at the buzzer. They have a date with Chase County on Friday in the 2A sub-state final. Elsewhere in Class 2A, Colgan boys basketball handles 1-seed Oswego 61-41. The Panthers will face Pleasanton in the sub-state title game on Friday night. Over to girls Class 3A, Girard looks the part of a number 1 seed tonight. The Lady Trojans crush Riverton 49-23, and they will face Burlington in the championship on Friday. The Wildcats beat Caney Valley by 6 on the road this evening. Elsewhere, Neodesha takes down Prairie View by 16. That means the Lady Streaks move on to the sub-state title game where they will face Frontenac. The Lady Raiders beat Cherryvale 49-40 on the road tonight. And in boys Class 4A, Parsons has its season come to an end. The Vikings fall to Eudora 71-54. And a huge upset tonight in Chanute. The Blue Comets, who were the 3 seed and ranked number 5 in the state, fall to Wamego 38-37. Back with more news after this.
Pope Francis is getting better, but he's not out of the woods just yet. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has more from Rome.
The Vatican says Pope Francis is getting better after going through 2 significant breathing episodes on Monday. Another night of prayer in St. Peter's Square after Pope Francis was put back on mechanical ventilation. But on Tuesday, his situation improved. Vatican officials tell Fox News his overall health outlook is much more stable. He's returned to a high oxygen flow tube in his nose and hasn't needed ventilation.
It is incredible to see how we have united in prayer, how all the Catholic Church is anxious about his health and is asking for the Pope to continue his work.
But the Pope isn't out of danger yet. It's a complex medical situation, and the prognosis remains guarded. The Vatican says he won't preside over the Ash Wednesday service tomorrow, though he is interacting with church officials.
We always pray for Pope Francis so that he will get better and feel better. We pray for him every day.
It's also not clear if the Pope has a do not resuscitate order. He made it clear in a 2017 speech that under Catholic doctrine, chronically ill patients can refuse extraordinary care if it's no longer beneficial.
If I was not just a simple man, then I would be able to foresee something, but I can't. I only wish that Pope Francis could be back soon.
Pope Francis has been here in the Gemelli Hospital since February 14th. It's now his longest hospitalization in his 12-year papacy. In Rome, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Well, coming up, another intense extraction. Who's out next on Fox's Extracted? 8 families remain on Fox's competition series Extracted. 2 contestants were eliminated last night. We talked to them about leaving the show, how they were challenged, and more. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Attention Rose, your family has extracted you.
30-year-old dietitian Rose Hayek and 38-year-old 4th grade teacher Ashley Metheny are the latest players eliminated from Fox's survival competition series Extracted.
I just can't do this anymore. I could have lasted longer if I had just eaten that food, but it got to the point where I pushed myself too far. I'm sorry, I don't feel good.
I'm very competitive. I ran track at UT in Austin, Texas. I was a boxer. I played football. So I'm like, I hate to lose. This is it ripped me apart.
This is a million times harder than I thought it was going to be.
The players were challenged in ways they have never been before.
I didn't ever think I'd be carving up a deer or building a raft and swimming across a freezing cold lake or, building a turtle hut, which I loved my shelter. I wish I could bring it and put it in my backyard.
I built a bed. That was the best thing ever. I missed that bed. The day of the deer challenge, I think I walked 3 to 4 miles and built the bed and redid my shelter. I'm like, that's sick.
Rose says the experience changed her for the better.
I've been forced to really reflect and grow as a human and create more calmness around me, confidence within myself.
Ashley admits the show helped her tap into her adventurous side.
I've always felt that pull in my heart and I never had the opportunity. So that was the biggest part. Just a couple of days back, Austin and I were going hiking. We've been camping, primitive camping. We've gone duck hunting. We've gone